I would like to ask Mrs. Stigall, the parliamentarian, to please call the roll.
Chair Hamilton,
Yes.
Vice Chair Stevens,
Present.
Secretary Witten.
Present.
We have quorum.
All right. I'd like to ask Dr. Quarles to start off a short outline of his goals and visions for the upcoming year. Dr. Quarles will lay out his goals and visions for the year, please.
Thank you, Chair Hamilton, and congrats on the first executive committee meeting that KCTCS has had. So I want to just say thank you for implementing this governance structure. As you know, a lot of other universities in Kentucky already have an executive committee. I think it's going to help us streamline. It also allows me and my team to be able to check in with you more frequently over decisions, but of course, it's the full board that sets the policy at KCTCS. But I think that this is really a good move forward. I want to say special thanks to our General Counsel, Jessica Stigall, for helping bring this forward as well. I also want to welcome Regent Josh Gibbons with us today, our student regent. So welcome aboard. Looking forward to working with you. And in case you're wondering, I'm reporting live from downtown Lexington in a parking lot. We just had a Kentucky Chamber of Commerce business meeting. They had a lunch attached to that. But just very quickly here, one of the purposes of today's meeting is for you all to establish an evaluation process for myself this next year. And as you recall, at the June meeting down at ECTC, I laid out my visions and goals this next year. And this past year, as you know, you use that vision and goals as somewhat of a template for the evaluation process, but that's up to you. But just very quickly, if you don't mind, Chair Hamilton, this year's visions and goals kind of build upon the compliance mentality we had last year, building out a team and being present with our General Assembly and policymakers. So this next year, we're going to continue fundraising. We will make sure that we're engaged in our community, as well as build upon the annual KCTCS conference, and also take a hard look at the compensation and benefits for all of our employees, including things that we can do based off the volume of KCTCS's 4,000 plus workforce. If there's things we can do to provide a more long-term approach towards compensation and benefits, we're going to look at that. This next year, we're going to be presenting to you a strategic plan to adopt. You'll be part of that process. We also, Regent Stevens, we're going to continue to have a conversation about campus safety needs, which will be reflected in our General Assembly ask this next year. Probably will be our number one top ask for when it comes to the funding side. We also to make sure that we finish out the audits, including Kentucky Fire Commission, set up evaluation metrics for myself, be active in both state and federal legislative agendas, support the Fire Commission. And just moving through these vision and goals, again, you've already heard these, so I won't elaborate, but I think it's time for us to evaluate dual credit, that we provide over 70% of dual credit in Kentucky. It's time for us to review that and work with Commissioner Robbie Fletcher, our K-12 commissioner, on what we can do better there as well. In addition, we're going to finish out our formal partnership with our public four-year universities. And just this morning, I met with the president of AQ that represents the independent colleges, universities, Kentucky. So we're going to review our partnership agreements with the privates as well. I also think it's going to be a great year for us to pilot some stuff across the system. With 16 colleges, we always have a few that are eager to try out some new ideas. Sink or swim, let's see if it works. One of that will be a new scheduling method for year-round scheduling. I'm looking forward to that. And of course, we're also going to implement the CPE mandated 10 essential skills framework. And guess what? These are skills that every college student in Kentucky needs to complete, whether it's with us or another 4-year before they graduate. And this really focuses on employability and soft skills as well. We also have a massive new technology implementation with the Anthology Reach, which will take the better part of 2 years to conclude. So we're excited about efficiencies of technology, as well as the KCTCS for Kentucky initiative. And just last week, as you probably saw the good news, 811 call before you dig, a $66,000 per year annual commitment for scholarships for our students. That's going to be part of this larger conversation about making sure KCTCS serves the needs of Kentucky organization. That includes state government and local government as well. And Mr. Chair, just to finish this out, we want to make sure that we try to get more trains funding on the workforce side, get more employers signed up as education first employers, promote FAME, going pro, and as well as having a more solidified approach for career development across the system. And the last thing I'll leave you with is I'm going to be in Michigan next week with a few teammates to evaluate what other states are doing with incarcerated populations. I think we have a real opportunity here with us already in our prisons and in our jails and our addiction recovery centers, more about workforce needs with second chance employment. So Chair Hamilton, you all watched me go through this last month. Unless there's any specific questions, those are kind of in a nutshell the goals and visions for the next year.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Claus. Do we want to touch base on the use of the rubric from last year regarding new vision and goals, or do we want to change the format?
So again, I think I know that some of the regions may want to change up the format for the rubric. I would recommend, if you can, to include the vision and goals that's laid out as part of that, but that's your all's job. So I'm just here to answer any questions you may have.
Chair Hamilton, this is Regent Witten. May
Yes.
I ask a question?
Yes.
I know kind of prior to the last evaluation, I had kind of mentioned some things to General Counsel Stegall to kind of formulate that rubric, right, where it was tailored more specifically towards what Dr. Quarles has already presented to us, so that we can evaluate him based on those very specific metrics. Jessica, do you have any feedback on that, or any way in which we can do that, or is that form already maybe been done?
This meeting is totally for you all to decide the form and metrics that you want to use to evaluate Dr. Quarles on. You know, last year we kind of put it together in a hurry, but we did have the evaluation rubric that used his vision and goals. That can be used again this year, and if you all want, you can change the ranking system if you feel like there's a different ranking system would work better. It's really for the three of you as the executive committee members to decide, you know, what recommendation you want to make to the full board for how Dr. Quarles will be evaluated. So open to any thoughts. You know, if it's something where we roundtable and you all want to reconvene a couple weeks, a month down the road, and then I can put together a rough draft that you all look at and we discuss then, I'm happy to do it. But really, this is just a starting conversation for you all.
Regent Stevens here. I like the basic format, and I think it is put together quite quickly, but whoever who did it did a good job. I like the comments at the end. I would ask, Dr. Claus, how does your evaluation correlate with the president's of the KCTCS? I mean, is there a lot of similarity things in this? That's important, that we're evaluating you the same way to a certain extent that you're evaluating your college presidents and your senior staff.
Great question. And the answer is yes. It's very similar, where I give the presidents the opportunity to present their vision and goals and also professional goals as well for the next year. And then during the evaluation, we go over whether or not they hit those goals or we need to tweak those going forward. It's also, now that I've been in for a year and a half, the vision and goals that I present to you all is automatically incorporated with their evaluation process this next year. For example, when I talk about second chance employment, we want all the colleges to be working on that so that every part of the evaluation process going forward the next year. We also, during my evaluation of presidents, rely heavily upon the input of their local board of directors during their evaluation process. So that's a similarity. But other than that, it's an interview process and a feedback process as well with written feedback. So those are the similarities between how we evaluate the presidents and the executive director of the Fire Commission.
And I also like the idea, Dr. Qualls, is once we establish the evaluation process and all of the board members have had input in the basic starting of it, before we get to the final one, you review it and you take the check marks is what I'm saying. This is what I've done, and this, that. Number one, they're the things. Well, ever how many there are is what I'm saying, so that we can make an honest evaluation of that.
Thank you. And a reminder for the executive committee and the other regents on this call, this is really your decision to make, that we would hope that you would adopt that evaluation process at the next policy and planning committee next month. Just a reminder.
Chair Hamilton, I would suggest that we take Ms. DeGaule's recommendation and ask her for a draft, and then perhaps reconvene in a couple of weeks to kind of just review that, go over it before presenting to the board as a whole.
Yes, I totally agree with that. That was also my comment, that we have some additional conversation around it before we make a final decision on how do we move forward. I don't necessarily off the top have any issues the way we have done it in the past, but I think it'd be valuable to just go back through it. It's a very important topic.
To confirm, for the draft, do you want me to use this previous model and just change the vision and goals to the current ones, and then Chair Hamilton can circulate that for when we reconvene, you all can discuss? Is that the draft model you all would like? Okay, I see Regent Whitten, you nodding your head. Okay, and you too, Regent Stevens. Okay, that I am more than happy to prepare that.
Based on the last one we just did, I think we need more clarity on the answers. You know, the 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we just need to make sure that we describe what is I can't remember what the terms were, but there's a lot of room for interpretation. So
yeah,
I think
I
we
agree.
could get a
And
more
that's something,
precise.
yeah, Barry, that's something you and I talked a lot about. And I think that, we need to just make sure that we define whether it's exceeds expectations or exceeds or meets or whatever terms we are using. We just need to make sure that categorically we have those very clearly defined for everyone who will be using that evaluation. I agree wholeheartedly. That's a great comment. Thank you.
We would also postpone the vote on the recommendations until after this meeting. Is that how we see it as a team?
You're here.
Did I miss something?
That's perfect. So we won't need an actual motion today where we're not voting to approve anything.
Okay. Any more comments? Okay. Is there any new business that the committee needs to address? If not, we will move on past new business. Okay, if there's no additional items, this would conclude the meeting. With that, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
A second?
That would be me. Second.
Any objection to the motion to adjourn? Noting none, the motion passes by consensus.
If you get a chance, read today's Herald Leader. We have a fantastic article about the historic moments of KCTCS with the all-time record number of graduates, our affordability, working with employers. So if you get a chance, we'll be sure to promote that big, but it's a good news. Yes.
Y'all have a good evening. Good weekend.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.